My name is Barneby. I'm the wife of one of the consuls here in Krakow, beautiful Krakow, and here at the U.S. consulate. I want to talk to you about baseball, which is one of my favorite sports. It's spring. It's one of the first nice days we've had here in Krakow. Today is April 2nd. Opening day of baseball is Sunday, April 5th. However, baseball has already been going on for a while because they're in spring training still. And a lot of the teams, they do their spring training in nice warm weather states like Florida or Arizona. And I remember looking up on the internet just out of curiosity. I think there are 17 games being played today in the United States, but they're preseason games. The season will start, like I said, Sunday. It goes until October, so it's a 6 months, 7-month season. 6-month season really, and then the playoffs, which culminate in the World Series. We have baseball on many levels. Kids learn it from when they're really little, and you've got it in college. And but on the professional levels, what I want to talk about, you've got MLB, Major League Baseball. Major League Baseball is divided into the National League and the American League, AL and NL. And then each of those are divided into further divisions, East, Central, and West, for a total of 6 divisions. And they play, a very rigorous schedule, 160-some games, I think, each team. They play across the league. They play within their own division and there are a lot of statistics involved. I won't get into all the rules because it's pretty complicated even for us Americans. But if you really want to speak good American English, you really need to know baseball because a lot of the terminology from baseball has entered into our lexicon. And I'll give you a few examples of that. Now, at the beginning of the game, what I want to say is we have 30 teams, okay? One of the teams is from Canada. It used to be we had 2 teams from Canada, but the Montreal Expos, they don't exist anymore. We just have the Toronto Blue Jays, which I was fortunate enough to live in Toronto when my husband was the consul at the U.S. consulate there in Toronto, and we went to a lot of games at the stadium. It's a dome stadium because Toronto, kind of like Krakow, has a harsh winter. And, so the game has evolved over the years differently. But anyway, at the beginning of the game, we start with the national anthem. You usually put your hand over your chest and you sing, "Oh, say, can you see," etc. Anyway, there are 9 players on each team. You've got the pitcher who throws the ball, the catcher who catches the ball, and first baseman, second baseman, third baseman. That's 5 so far. Another position called shortstop. That's a guy who stands between second and third. And in the outfield, you have left field, center field, and right field. Okay? And so that's the defensive position. And you have 9 innings, like 9 periods maybe, I don't know how to explain that, in a normal game. But it can last and last and last. The game goes 3.5 hours if it goes 9 innings. But if it goes longer, it can really last a lot longer. And there's a tie. They play till it ends. So those 9 players will end up being offensive and get up to bat. Okay, the difference between the National League and the American League is really one rule, which is a 10th player who is a designated hitter. Because what happens is your guy who's the pitcher, he's usually a lousy hitter. So one of the leagues allows a 10th player to bat in his place. But what they do is when they have the World Series in October, they'll play 1 year according to National League rules, and they'll play the other year according to American League rules. What do I like about baseball? Well, it's not just the game. It's a social event. Yeah, you can watch it at home on TV, but it's nothing like going to the real stadium. Things have changed a lot. In the early days, it was mainly hot dogs, cotton candy, peanuts, Cracker Jack. It's a thing that came in a box with a toy, and it's like popcorn and peanuts with caramel flavor. They still sell it. But now the food has gotten really high-end. Different stadiums, they have to specialize in different types of food. I was reading in the New York Times that they're opening the new stadium for the New York Mets this weekend. But they've already had some culinary events there. Like go out to dinner at the baseball stadium. They have, instead of hot dogs made with beef, They have hot dogs made with shrimp. I don't know if that appeals to some people, but I was surprised when I read that. But they have sushi and all kinds of different kinds of food. And we used to go in Toronto and make a real day out of it. And, we used to pay extra to sit in the nice area. But you can sit in the in the outfield. It's very affordable sport. Anybody, I don't remember, I really couldn't tell you how much it costs, but it's very easy to get tickets. Usually they're huge stadiums. The field will vary in size because it's been built in different cities, different times of the, throughout history. And, when you go to build a stadium, you may not have a plot of land big enough, whatever. So the diamond itself, which is where, home plate, first, second, third base, the pitcher's mound, that's always the same. There are regulations for that. But the distance between home plate and the fence all the way out in right field, center field, or left field can vary greatly. And different stadiums are known for different sizes or easier outfields or whatever. My memories, I grew up in Albany, New York, which is the capital of New York State. And in New York City, there are two teams. One's the American League, one's the National League. One is the Yankees, and one is the Mets. I always liked the Mets. So much so that when I got married 26 years ago, first day of our honeymoon, my husband and I went to a Mets game. So I was a cheap date for him, I guess, the first day of the honeymoon. I was looking for my Mets hat. I couldn't find it. It's got to be somewhere. But anyway, it's interesting. Both those teams have new stadiums this year. The Mets always played in a stadium called Shea Stadium, and they've got a brand new stadium this year, and it's 8 miles from the Yankees. The Yankees are the ones who have won the most World Series pennants. They've had a very successful history. But anyway, when I was little, we used to take the train from Albany, New York, down to New York City, probably 120 miles. And I'm saying I was 7, 8, 9 years old. My brothers were younger than me. We would go sometimes with our cousins. They lived in New Jersey. They would meet us in Manhattan. I mean, this was unheard of. I can't believe today that a parent would allow a kid to ride on the bus down to New York City and then catch a subway to the stadium with their little cousins. But this is the way it was, I guess, back in the early 60s. Let's see, the game. The food is a lot of fun. When you're in the stands, usually these vendors will come around. They have like around their neck, and they'll sell hot dogs and beer and sodas and popcorn and whatnot. But also between innings or whenever you feel like it, you can get up and go to one of the concession stands and buy food. Let's see. In baseball, it's very, very popular in North America, but it's also popular in Central America and South America and the Caribbean. And a lot of our players they don't even speak English. They speak only Spanish. So anyway, let me tell you a little joke, okay? There's a guy named Jose from Puerto Rico. He has not ever been to New York before, and he got an opportunity to travel to New York. And while he was in New York, he was able to see a baseball game. So when he got back to San Juan, Puerto Rico, his friends asked him, "Hey, so tell me, Jose, how was New York? Did you get to go to a baseball game?" He says, "Yeah, I did." And they said, "Well, what was it like? How did it go?" He says, "Well, we got those cheap seats way out in the outfield, underneath the American flag, back out there way in the back. And at the very beginning of the game, everybody stood up and sang, 'Oh, Jose, can you see?'" Like I said before, the national anthem. Anyway, as far as singing goes, too, during the game, about the 7th inning, they have something called the 7th inning stretch, where people get out of the seats, stretch, do some exercises. We've been sitting for how many hours now? It's a little bit longer. In the old days, we only sang one song, which is "Take Me Out to the Ball Game." Ever since 9/11, they now sing "God Bless America." I'm going to sing for you, "Take Me Out to the Ball Game." Take me out to the ball game. Take me out with the crowd. Buy me some peanuts and Cracker Jack. I don't care if I ever come back, for it's root, root, root for the home team. If they don't win, it's a shame, for it's 1, 2, 3 strikes, you're out at the old ball game.